Fantastic. Welcome this early Monday morning. My name is Dennis Mboro, and today we'll be talking about building an authentic personal brand. But before we talk about that, we'd like to understand what does this word authentic mean, because it has really been thrown around a lot. What the word authentic means is genuine. And the reason why it's very important to build a genuine personal brand is because you want to be known for who you are as an individual. In this video, we are going to talk about why that is a big challenge for people and how you can go about being more genuine in how you're doing your personal branding. If you're new here, this is If you're new here, my name is Dennis Mboro. I'm the founder of DSM Advisory and Consulting, where we help people with unique ideas, articulate them, and present them to the market. And since branding or the subject of you, the person, is a unique subject, then that's why we're having this conversation today. When it comes to the aspect of being genuine, what you're going to notice is it's a big issue in the society. Like when you interact with people, they'll always tell you that people are not being genuine. Remember that one time where you interacted with someone, like you had a very good conversation and you thought you had a good relationship, but then you realized that how they presented themselves was not who they really are. Taking it closer home, are you usually authentic when you interact with people, or you're afraid of how you're going to be received if you show who you truly are? So this subject of being genuine and being authentic is a very difficult subject, majorly because people have had different upbringings. Say if you had a very tough upbringing, or your upbringing was different from the other people, or you've always felt as though you don't fit in, the aspect of being genuine becomes very hard, because you do not want to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be rejected. But this subject of branding, especially if you want to be known, you have to be known for something specific which aligns with who you are, so that it can be easier for you to get these opportunities. So majority of people usually find themselves in this situation where they are not sure whether they're supposed to be genuine with people. Say, for example, you are very interested in subjects of wildlife and people seem not to be interested in wildlife. You don't find yourself talking about a subject that people are not naturally interested in. However, if people know that that is a subject you're interested in and there's an opportunity in that area, then you're likely to get opportunities in that specific space. When it comes to me now, when I was growing up, I was always curious about things that people genuinely did not care about. I was curious about planets. I was curious about biology, like how many systems are there in the body? Because I remember when I was in the lower elementary levels nowadays, primary school, I knew like 7 or 8 systems of the body, whereas the rest of the class, I think I'd only known the digestive and the respiratory system. So I was that kind of a child who was always curious, and I always wanted to know a lot of things. But now that made me to be quite unpopular with teachers and with other students, because I used to make them feel as though they don't know anything, whereas that is not really what I wanted to present. Growing up, of course, heading into my later, what can I call them, like around 10 and getting into teenage, I felt as though there is something wrong about being curious, and therefore I never used to share the things that I am interested in or the things that I love. So that led to, in high school, like me being just part of the crowd, not feeling a bit disenfranchised by the things that people talk about, because I felt like they were not very interesting, like the teenage kind of subjects, and ultimately becoming a pale shadow of the very curious and energetic young kid that I used to be. But now, fortunately, when I got to campus, I would say it's God, because God helped me to realize who I was. Of course, that story is something I'll share in another video or another topic. and I started to embrace myself. And once I started to embrace myself, I noticed that people genuinely like to have somebody who knows stuff around them, because this is a person who is consulted when there's an issue. Many years later, after campus and all that, I find myself helping people find answers to what they're looking for, like consulting and training and teaching people stuff, because that is what I love to do. Going back, I would like to ask myself, like, if I did not learn how to be genuine when I was entering or in the early years of my university, would I really be where I am right now? And of course, the answer to that is no. But there must have been that brave choice that I made to be authentic and to pretty much double down on what I know I am and what I know I'm supposed to do, for the purpose of aligning my career and my choices in the future to where I'm supposed to be heading. And of course, I'm still in the process of building this personal brand, but I feel very strongly in my heart that it is important to share this message with people, because if they do not learn like how to value who they are and how to be genuine, that is a big limitation to building the personal brand that is going to make them known for what they can actually do very well. The alternative is being known for something that maybe you studied in school but you're not very passionate about, or being known because you're in a certain space, whereas that is not something that gives you that kind of energy, or that does not really fill you up with that fire. So when you find yourself going through a challenge because of the reputation that you have been building, it becomes very stressful. But if it aligns with who you are as an individual, then even having that ability to be resilient becomes much easier, much easier to do. So we are talking about building an authentic personal brand, and we've said that the personal brand essentially is about the reputation that you're building out there, being known for a specific subject. And something else that we are mentioning just in the course of this conversation is that it's better to be known for something that you know you can do well, something that you are passionate about, a subject that you are interested in, because that is something that you can do almost without effort, or even if you take an effort, it's something that you'd love to continue to do for a very long period of time. Like, there's always going to be that energy coming in and feeling that sense of alignment, and of course being compensated for doing something that you actually love. The question that people usually have at this point is, say like you have never really connected with yourself, you have not introspected as much, and therefore you don't know what your passions are. That's something you're going to talk about in the next video. But just to give you a sneak peek, I have discovered that everybody has an idea of what they love to do. It's only that they don't value, or they don't see as though it is serious. They just take it for granted, what it is that they are able to do. But in the next video, we're going to talk about how you're able to identify that. But please note that it could be one of those things that you take for granted that other people tend to appreciate. Yeah. So that's how after you have gotten to really embrace and be genuine, and to start aligning yourself with what you're called to do and what you naturally do, the other part of building your personal brand is stacking up skills that are in that specific area. If say you love things to do with children, it's learning about children's psychology, learning about games, learning about how children interpret the world, putting yourself in situations where kids are, and essentially building a reputation in that specific arena, because it's going to be seen that you do it with a lot of joy and you do it with a lot of passion. And anybody who has a big opportunity always wants to give it to the person who is not just the most competent in terms of education, but really cares about it as much as they do, or even more than they do. So put yourself in those situations, because the people who are likely to give you those opportunities are going to be in those spaces. Okay? And after that, have the courage to fail, to learn, and to grow, and also to share with other people. Because I know this is another thing that people have, where they assume that because they are good at a certain subject, they are not supposed to talk about it, like to share, to tell people that this is something that I love to do and I know that I can do this very well. It's very important to learn how to do that. But please keep following our channel so that in future videos you can learn about how to self-promote without feeling as though you are, what can I say, putting yourself on the spot as much. Yeah, that's something that we are going to talk about in future videos. But coming to the end of this specific live broadcast, I'm just going to give a recap of what we have been talking about. So what we started out by saying is that authenticity is all about being genuine. And how you can be genuine is by appreciating what makes you different from other people and building yourself based on that, and being courageous enough to put yourself in those spaces and to start aligning yourself with that specific direction of where you are actually very strong. The other thing that we mentioned is that one of the things that may be making you not see what you're supposed to, what you can do very well, is that you probably not take it for granted. You probably take it for granted, and you're going to talk about that in the next video. And something else is about self-promotion, which we are also going to talk about in future videos. So please ensure that you keep following this channel. So if you're wondering what specifically like we can do for you, is if you'd like to, if you have an idea, a unique idea that you are struggling to articulate, or maybe you want to understand, to see how you can package yourself as an individual based on what makes you really strong, then that's something that we can have a conversation about. You can reach out to us on our social media, of course, by sending a message, and of course through WhatsApp, which is written on our social media platforms as well. And I wish you all the best as you plan for the future. And please note that the great opportunities that you are looking out for, there are people who are looking out for those opportunities to give to people who align with what those great opportunities are about. So please let that be you, and let that be aligned with what you are able to do well. And that way, you're really going to excel, and excel with a lot of joy. Until next time, God bless you and lead you in everything that you're doing. Bye-bye.